Owning a home isn't the finish line. It's the start of a game with a secret rulebook. This code is enforced by your most power-hungry neighbors, and they can fine you for the wrong shade of curtains and declare war on your bird feeder. We've found 48 of the most genuinely insane and mind-numbingly dumb HOA rules that prove the American suburbs are the last frontier of petty tyranny. 1. That harmless little garden gnome you placed by the roses? To the HOA, he's not a whimsical guardian. He's a public enemy. Many associations have a zero-tolerance policy on all lawn ornaments, effectively outlawing everything from pink flamingos to decorative frogs. Your personal sense of humor is seen as a direct assault on the neighborhood's carefully manicured, personality-free aesthetic. In this world, expressing joy through ceramics is a finable offense, and your gnome is a tiny, pointy-hatted rebel. 2. This is the ultimate suburban trap. The developer plants a street tree on that strip of grass near the road, which is technically your land. You didn't choose the species, and you didn't plant it. But when that tree inevitably gets sick or its roots Hulk smash the sidewalk, guess who pays? You do. The HOA will cheerfully inform you that the massive bill for tree removal or concrete repair is yours alone. You are essentially forced to adopt a wooden child that will eventually destroy your driveway and bankrupt you, and you aren't even allowed to cut it down. 3. A screen door is a brilliant invention that lets a cool breeze in while keeping mosquitoes out. To some HOAs, however, it's a visual weak point in the neighborhood's armor. They forbid full-view screen doors because a visitor might catch a glimpse of your home's interior, shattering the illusion of a street lined with identical, impenetrable fortresses. They would genuinely rather you suffocate in the summer heat than allow a neighbor to see your foyer from the sidewalk. 4. Hanging a bird feeder seems like the most wholesome thing a human can do. Not here. To a strict HOA, a bird feeder is classified as an unlicensed nuisance attractor. They argue that seeds attract rats and squirrels, so they ban the practice entirely. You just wanted to see a few blue jays while drinking coffee, but you've effectively been accused of running a rodent buffet. It's a rule that legally mandates you to be less connected to nature. When feeding a sparrow becomes an act of rebellion, you know you're living in a dystopian regime. 5. We all love the smell of a summer cookout, right? Wrong. Some associations have actually weaponized the concept of noxious odors to regulate your dinner. If your grilling smoke drifts into a neighbor's open window after a certain hour, you can be cited for a nuisance violation. Your desire to sear a steak is treated with the same severity as a chemical spill. It's the ultimate fun killer, a rule that tries to police the movement of air molecules. If your burger smells too good for too long, you'd better be prepared to pay a fine for atmospheric disturbance. 6. Trash day is treated like a military drill. You have a tiny, rigid window to get your bins to the curb, usually not before dusk the night before, and they must be hidden away immediately after pickup. If you get stuck at work and leave the bin out until 7 p.m., that's a violation. The logic is that the mere sight of a plastic container is so traumatizing to property values that it must be suppressed at all costs. It turns a basic sanitation chore into a high-stakes stealth mission where the enemy is a retired neighbor with a clipboard and too much free time. 7. This is the Goldilocks zone from hell. Your grass cannot be too long, obviously, or the neighborhood looks unkept. But if you cut it too short, scalping it, that is also a violation for damaging the turf. You are forced to walk a horticultural tightrope where the grass must be exactly 2.5 to 3.5 inches tall at all times. Rain kept you from mowing for 3 days? Violation. Mower setting slipped a notch? Violation. You end up staring at your lawn with a ruler, paralyzed by the fear that your fescue is growing faster than your bank account can handle. 8. You want a basketball hoop for your kids? Fine. But many HOAs mandate that the backboard must be clear, transparent acrylic. No whiteboards, no logos, no colors. Why? There is literally no functional difference. It's purely an aesthetic demand to make the equipment disappear visually. It's a flex designed to remind you that they control every atom of the neighborhood. If you bought a high-quality white backboard on sale, too bad. You have to return it and buy the invisible one, just because they said so. 9. The irony here is thick enough to cut with a knife. You install a Ring doorbell to catch package thieves. The HOA then slaps you with a violation because your camera's angle invades the privacy of the neighbor across the street. They can force you to remove or reposition security devices on your own home based on vague complaints. The device you bought to monitor your property is now being monitored by the board. It turns into a surveillance inception where you are being watched for watching too much. Your safety comes second to your neighbor's feelings. 10. You might think replacing your roof is a chance to upgrade to modern, energy-efficient materials. Think again. The Architectural Review Committee likely selected one specific brand and color of asphalt shingle in 1998, and you are bound to it by blood oath. Even if that shingle is now obsolete, expensive, or inferior to metal or composite options, you have no choice. Uniformity is God here. They would rather every house have the same mediocre, leaky roof than allow one person to have a better, slightly different-looking one. Your house, their shingles. 11. You might think weeding is a casual Sunday activity, but in an HOA, it's a tactical operation. We aren't just talking about the lawn, we mean the flower beds. If an inspector spots a single blade of crabgrass hiding behind your hydrangeas, you get fined. You are expected to maintain a botanical standard that rivals the gardens of Versailles. It stops being nature and starts being a stress test. They demand a level of sterile perfection that doesn't exist in the real world, turning your relaxing hobby into a constant paranoid battle against photosynthesis. 12. HOAs don't just control the outside, they invade your living room. A common rule dictates that the back of your curtains or blinds, the part facing the street, must be white or off-white. You could have a vibrant Gothic red interior, but to the outside world, you must project a soulless beige uniformity. It's an insane level of micromanagement, where your personal taste is illegal if it can be seen through a pane of glass. You aren't decorating for yourself anymore. You're decorating for the phantom approval of a board member walking their dog. 13. On a scorching summer day, a small plastic kiddie pool is a lifesaver. But in the HOA rulebook, it's an unauthorized temporary structure. This means you have to drain it and hide it in the garage every single evening. The rule isn't just about safety, it's about aesthetics. The sight of a cheerful blue tub on the lawn is an offense to the neighborhood's visual purity. It's a daily, back-breaking chore invented by someone who hates both children and convenience. 14. You'd think buying a swing set would be simple, but you've forgotten the HOA's Ministry of Fun Prevention. Some bylaws actually dictate the approved color scheme for your children's play equipment. Those bright, happy primary colors are often forbidden as too garish. Instead, you must select from a palette of earth tones: sad beige, depressing mud brown, and bleak forest green. The goal is to make your kids' playground so camouflaged and joyless, it practically disappears. 15. Using a clothesline is a smart, free, and eco-friendly way to dry your laundry. In the eyes of an HOA, it's an act of pure anarchy. The sight of your underwear flapping gently in the breeze is considered a Class A visual offense, tantamount to abandoning a car on your lawn. They'd rather you pump carbon into the atmosphere using an electric dryer than expose the neighborhood to the shocking reality that you own and wash socks. It's a special kind of snobbery. 16. A distracted mailman flattens your mailbox. An easy fix, you think. But you can't just run to the hardware store. You must purchase the single, board-approved mailbox model from their designated supplier, often at a ridiculous markup. It has to be the exact shade of semi-gloss black with the precisely angled regulation issue red flag. Because in this suburban paradise, even the container for your credit card offers must adhere to a strict and expensive uniform code. 17. Here's a rule so ironic it hurts. You've finally sold your house and are about to escape the HOA's clutches. But wait, there's one last indignity. You are forbidden from using your realtor's professional for sale sign. Instead, you must buy and display the official HOA-branded sign, complete with their approved fonts and logo. They will literally micromanage the sign you use to advertise your desperate flight from their micromanagement. It's a perfect final insult. 18. Federal law says you can fly the American flag, but that won't stop an HOA from trying to regulate your patriotism. They can't ban the flag, so they attack it from the sides. They'll dictate the exact height of the flagpole, the maximum size of the flag itself, and where on your property it can stand. Some even forbid illuminating it at night, which forces you to violate the US flag code by either flying it in darkness or taking it down every single night. 19. This is a new frontier of insane pickiness. We're not talking about garish colored bulbs. We're talking about the specific scientific shade of your white porch light. Some rulebooks specify that all exterior bulbs must emit a warm white light, usually under 3000 kelvins. If you dare to install a crisp, cool white LED, you're disrupting the sacred amber glow of the street. Someone with a light meter and a grudge is judging the very photons leaving your house. 20. This rule doesn't just restrict you, it forces you to embrace an architectural lie. Many HOAs mandate that your house must have decorative shutters. But here's the catch. They must be the cheap, plastic kind screwed into the siding. They can't be functional. In fact, they're often sized so poorly they clearly couldn't cover the window anyway. You can be fined for failing to install a purely cosmetic, structurally pointless decoration on your own home. It's enforced fakery. 21. That vibrant hopscotch grid your daughter drew on the sidewalk. In the HOA's legalistic worldview, it's not a sign of childhood joy. It's unauthorized graffiti. You will receive a formal warning about defacing common property, as if a piece of washable chalk carries the same menace as a spray can. The rule is an exercise in pure absurdity, punishing an act of creativity that the next rainstorm would erase for free. It's a policy specifically engineered to suck the color and spontaneity out of life, one chalk drawing at a time. 22. You want to buy your kids a swing set? Prepare to enter a bureaucratic labyrinth worthy of a municipal government. You can't just pick one. First, the exact model must be submitted for architectural committee approval. Then, you must provide a scaled diagram of your yard showing its precise placement. Finally, the assembly cannot be a cherished weekend project for you. It must be done by a licensed and insured contractor whose credentials must also be submitted. They have successfully transformed a rite of passage into a soul-crushing, expensive gauntlet of paperwork. 23. This is the absolute summit of pointless micromanagement. The rule isn't just park in your driveway. It's a hyper-specific mandate like, all vehicle tires must be parked no less than 6 inches from the edge of the grass and no more than 12 inches from the garage door. This turns the simple act of coming home into a daily high-stakes geometry test. You're forced to perform a precision parking maneuver every single time, knowing that a neighbor with a ruler and too much time on their hands is just waiting to report your misalignment. 24. When seconds count in an emergency, you want your house numbers to be big and clear. The HOA, however, is more concerned with graphic design than your survival. You can be fined because your house numbers are a perfectly legible Arial font when the bylaws explicitly mandate the board-approved Times New Roman. This is prioritizing aesthetic conformity over the ability of first responders to find you. You're left hoping the paramedics aren't just trying to save your life, but also appreciating the neighborhood's typographic consistency. 25. You think a festive holiday wreath is a safe traditional decoration? Think again. Some HOAs have bizarrely specific rules banning the use of common over-the-door metal hangers, claiming they might scratch the paint. Their approved method? A cheap suction cup or adhesive hook, which is scientifically guaranteed to fail in cold weather, sending your beautiful wreath crashing to the ground. It's a masterclass in creating a problem that didn't exist, all in the name of obsessive control. 26. You're not allowed to have a garage sale. You must apply for a temporary business license. Want to clear out some old junk?